as more often I did, as better I got in doing them. And then I got even to the stage that I were performing them faster as I usually done. Repairing, changing wheels on cars was my biggest experience in that time. Because, you know, if you're an apprentice, starting somehow, whatever the weather shows outside in Germany, somehow in October, beginning of October till mid of October it starts. And then it goes straight for at least 6 to 8 weeks, where all the summer wheels get changed to winter wheels. So today I have these wheels, they can go all year long. That times there was clear summer, winter, summer, winter. So when who is doing that? Since nobody likes to do that, the apprentice. So I was the chosen one. And after 2-3 days changing wheels and cars from morning to night, I got kind of totally frustrated because I was not what I came for. Where I said as an apprentice, I wanted to learn different things. And now I'm changing wheels, and it was clear I have to do that straight for at least 6 weeks. On the other side, I understood it's not a good idea to wake up and not be too motivated to go to work. So I needed to find a way to look at the glass and not to see it's half empty, but to look at it as half full. So I thought about solutions. So here we are at the next point. If you want to create solutions, you need to think solutions. Sometimes it's even helpful to remodify your wording. So for example, the word problem, as everybody working close with me, was traded into a different word. So everybody is naming that word. I give them the lesson and say, it's named challenge. You know what the difference is between a problem and a challenge? It's the difference between the why and the how. So what, where, when. So it means the why is always leading into the problem. So how, where, when, what leads out of it. It looks for a solution. The challenge is a word that challenges you to step up. So it goes into the solution. So looking into a solution. So I was looking into a solution, how to deal with changing wheels on cars. And so you know what I did? I bought a stopwatch. And then I stopped my time. And then I made a contest with myself, beating my best time. And I couldn't wait for the next day to go back to be in my own competition to beat my time. So after that winter experience, I was probably the fastest wheel changer in the environment of the next 500 kilometers from the place I was working. I was one of the efficient producer in that whole company. I outcompeted everybody around me. As an outcome of that, with everything else I did, taking on works nobody wanted to do, changing these wheels, there was cards at that time where you could look on the points you collect throughout the months as an outcome of your performance. And I figured out I'm the most valuable person in between by points in that whole facility, being an apprentice in the second year. And so I approached the boss. I asked for an appointment. And believe he was so surprised that an apprentice asked for it, I got it. And I brought my little piece of paper with all the points on it up there. I said, dear Mr. Scheller, thank you very much for taking the time for me. I just wanted to show you something. Look, please. And then I put that piece of paper in front of him and I said, you know, I believe I'm the most valuable person you have in the whole facilities. It would be great if that would be recognized somehow. So next day, I get an apprentice. First time ever in this company that an apprentice got an apprentice. I got my own toolbox, what no apprentice ever gets. And they paid me 70% of what everybody else who learns the job already received. What meant at the end of the day, I got at least twice as much as before. And I was super happy and I was even more motivated to perform. So increasing your value. So it's about how am I behaving on my workspace? What am I doing? Yeah, so, and also, I mean, do good and talk about it. Yes, step up for it. I mean, if you really do the extra shift, you will really be the person who is doing it, let people realize it, make it visible. Yeah, and Yes, I mean, I gave promotions to people talking about corporate that didn't ask for it, just because I saw they're extremely good performing, because they're stepping up, because they're doing a greater and a better job. I recognized it and I said, yes, absolutely. Yeah, so talking in sales, we are getting to that next. Direct sales, creating additional income. Sure, there's no better way, in my opinion, as to become a distributor to create additional income. Goes very fast, starts with the first customer. One customer, PM International, 30, 40, 45 euro for an optimum set on profit. If that's a decision, then there's only way to do it. I mean, and I wonder always about our statistics, how many distributors are signed in as team partner only. When I signed in team partner, I always was shooting for the bullseye, and the bullseye was a quick start. What's the reason for a quick start? It's because if somebody buys a quick start, it's a clearer commitment because it's already products for sale and not just for consumption. So that's the start of a business. I always wanted to have the products with me when I have somebody who's interested, because the people are interested right now. It's like you go to a supermarket and you want to buy some apples, and you go to the area of the apples, and it says, okay, apples, pick them up tomorrow. I mean, you want them now, right? So if I have a possible customer and he wants a product now, then I need to give it now. Okay, online you can do that. Offline, if it's somebody from the neighborhood or a friend or a relative, that's however it starts normally with people we know, then it's better to have the products right there. And it's quick start is 50% more income for the same effort. So why would I take 50% less profit for the same work if I can have 50% more profit? And to all the leaders out here, I mean, you get a much more serious decision on a person starting as a quick start as starting as a distributor. You get a much stronger commitment if they start with the 6 months ownership, what is at the end of the day the same as if you, or as a quick start with a strong commitment in the beginning. So, and it gives the extra income at the same time. So now we're talking about how to build wealth. Building wealth means that seminar goes as long as it goes. No time needed. Thank you. They are sometimes funny here. So where was I? 50% more income with the quick start. The next thing is to reinvest into your business. I mean, so I go back to my own example. When I started direct sales the first time in my life, I didn't have much money, and I was pretty extremely driven to change that, because I just experienced a total drop in my lifestyle from being a car mechanic, repairing cars in the evening, repairing cars during the day, getting this extra income. I always had money in my pocket. When I started studying, I moved to a different place, and I couldn't do that anymore. So I need to live from the pocket of my parents again. And so my lifestyle dropped dramatically, what basically at the end of the day created the burning desire to be willing to step over myself and to go for it. I was not believing I'm a salesperson. I was a car mechanic. That's all I learned. So now selling cosmetics and perfume doesn't sound like logic, or? And seriously, I was scared like hell. The only reason was a burning desire to get back to where I was. That I wanted to have my old lifestyle back. And since I saw somebody doing it, where I could identify what was a mechanic driving my dream car, telling me that he's making money with direct sales, that convinced me at the end of the day, if he can do it, I can do it too. So I started myself. The important thing was I understood I'm somehow surviving with the 800 marks that my parents gave me. So when I made my first money, I was not just spending it, I reinvested it. And that's where wealth building started. Reinvesting. And what does it mean to invest at the end of the day? What does it mean to invest? A lot of people are mixing up costs and investment. I mean, if you're running a financial booking department, I don't need to explain it anymore, but at the end of the day, I run in so many people. For example, they buy their quick start, sells the product successfully, and shortly later they showed up at my place and said, I have a financial problem. I said, well, what does it mean? Yeah, I have less money than before. I said, how? Yeah, I don't know where it went. I said, wait. You took cash, created revenue, Umsatz, sales, and where did you put it? In your normal wallet? And then? And you didn't even know how much it is, so how much did you earn? I can't say. I said, okay, so it went in the normal wallet. So if you would be a server in a restaurant, where does the money go that you get from the customers? In your normal wallet or in a separate wallet? It goes in a separate wallet. So first thing when you sign in as a distributor is you need a second wallet. First thing you should tell your distributors, if you're a leader, in your responsibility is that they need an extra wallet for their business and not the regular one. If not, they're on the risk that they mix up profit with revenue. But revenue, sales, and profit is not the same. Profit is only what you earn on top. So, take the profit on the side in a separate wallet. Create a business account. So when you start selling, you make out of a quick start, you make about €200, dollar plus. You sell it 3 times and you have a business account with at least business cash money, 600 that are sitting there. What would PM International give everybody the opportunity every time there's a special along, a 5+1, a business academy special, an action pack, whatever it is, every discounted purchase you can do, you have the chance to take advantage of it. So, super important to have cash in your business. So, talking about the setup, so what do you need? So, if you're in sales, you need, when you receive cash, you need an extra wallet. If you have extra income as an entrepreneur, it could be also the bonus, retail, whatever it is, you need to always keep everything separate for what it's needed. So, when you receive bonus, also, your retail income online, it's all taxable. So tax needs to be taken away immediately. So everybody who is entrepreneur in what scale ever, or planning to be an entrepreneur in what scale ever, even if it's a part-time job, tax goes away first. So in Germany, it would be 40% straight. Take it away. Put it on a tax account so you never get headaches. I have seen leaders that successfully built their business and then they're sitting in front of my door. I have a financial problem. I said, why? Because I should pay taxes. I said, didn't you know? Okay, so tax account. You need a business account. Next account you need a business account. Business account is to have all your running costs, like let's talk about investments and costs. So what is an investment versus costs? So another big question. What is a car? Is it an investment or costs? Depends. If you buy an old-timer and put it in your garage and let it sit there until it's worth twice as much, and that happens sometimes, then it's a cool investment. If you use that car and drive around for vacation holidays, then it's pure costs. If you use it for business, it could become an investment. You know how I charge an investment? Very simple. Well, we have on our door, simple, successful. I say, an investment is everything you do where you get more outcome than you have to put in. So, investing 100 needs to create 120, 150, 200. So, if whatever you put money in, there's more money as an outcome of it, then it's an investment. If the amount reduces, then it's costs. Very simple. So it's the simplest way to look at it. Maybe not a financial blah, 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 but it's an easy way to judge if it's costs or if it's investment. So, and you can also judge your investments. So when you plan investment and you see at the end it's less outcomes than what you put in, and it's not an investment, and it's costs. Or it's not an investment that makes any sense, because investments only make sense if they create more money. There's a safe environment, you know, when you have your wealth building money aside, then you need to do something with it. That means you want the money to work for you. And so you need to be careful. We will talk about that. What you're doing with that money is that you're not just burning it instead of creating more money as an outcome. But let's stay with accounts. So if you have an additional income, you have a business account, or you have a tax account, number one, you have a business account, number second, you have a wealth building account. So now we're talking about 10% are already going for wealth building. If you have additional income, there's another 20% you put there. Because it's additional income. Come on. If it's additional income, take another 20%. Put it on top of it. So tax goes away. Tax goes away first. So let's say the rest, and now you divide the rest. What do you do with the rest? You have running costs. You need a business account for all your running costs. Keep it as small as it is. Lower running costs give you more on the other side. On the other side, I would see minimum 20% of reinvesting into your business, 20% for your wealth building account, and I say 20% for luxury. Because at the end of the day, you want to improve your lifestyle. So with my examples, that would be 40% for the running cost, 20% for wealth building, 20% for reinvesting, and 20% for luxury. That could be a formula, but you can always change the percentages to what is needed. As long as you keep the categories and deliver to each of them, it's fine. And I mean, what you want to support is wealth building. I mean, that's your wealth building account is one. Whenever you have money left, more money left, put it in your wealth building account. That's the money working for you. Reinvesting also works for you. That's the direct way to reinvest. Reinvesting into your own business is what you know the best. So it's always the first step you can do, reinvest into your own business, because that's what you have under control. You want to reinvest in something you can control yourself. Because if you can't control it yourself, then you need to rely on other people. And here comes an important lesson. There's always people showing up if you have money that need money from you. There's always people in need. And very often that happens also that friends approach you. Family can approach you. As tough as it is, you can give people to money with an expertise. So if somebody is showing up, good friend, and says, oh, I have the best idea ever, if you give me so much, then I will use it and I will make so much more. If that's not their expertise, why would you give it? If they have no expertise, you have as much as them, then you could do it yourself. But if you don't have an expertise, why would you do that? Instead of investing where your expertise really is. I mean, increasing your value, what does that mean? You increase your value is giving a value to other people. Increasing your value means that you become more efficient in what you're doing, that you don't stop learning on your journey, so you can always become better in what you do. You can learn more, get a bigger expertise, learn additional things. On top of that, you can increase your efficiency. I bring my examples again, direct sales. So what did make me so successful in direct sales? What did Rolfsorg do, who needed 10 months to become something named IMM? What is really not the fastest pace? We have people doing IMM in 1 month. We have seen people doing it in 3 months. And we have not so many seen that took 9 months to get there. But at the end of the day, 3.5 years later, I was number one. So for me, it was not about being the fastest in the beginning. It was being the most consistent and never giving up learning and becoming more efficient in what I did. So for example, in the beginning, I was happy that I could sign a distributor. When I could sign a distributor, I was shooting for the quick start to make a manager. When I could make a manager, I was thinking about how many managers I can do in 1 month myself. When I got there, I was thinking about how many more managers I can do together with my team, supporting them to duplicate faster. So it was always about efficiency. I was thinking about, I started a business academy with 17 people. 6 years later, it was 600 in the room every time. But it went from 17 to 19 to 21 to 27, back to 23, up to 35, for one simple reason. Sitting down after the sale was done, after the job was done, sitting down and reflecting. So every time you're setting yourself a goal, you need to have some steps in between. What's next? What's my next step? Yeah? So, and when you reach that steps and look at it, what did I do right? What did I do that it worked? What can I do better next time? And what's important now? Yeah? You set your next goal. So, what did I do good? What do I need to improve? What I do as an outcome of that next? Setting a goal, making a plan of action, taking action, analyzing. I can repeat it. Setting a goal, making a plan, getting in action, analyze. That's successful management. And wealth building needs successful management. If you want to be successful in wealth building, you need a successful management. So, back to distributorship. As a distributor, if you sell a quick start 3 times, the second and the third time it's named PA special, then it's more than this 3 times 200, and that would be enough for the cash in the business account that you can reinvest all the time in taking opportunities. So, and that counts for every distributor in PM International. With 600 euros, they can take advantage of every campaign that's going on in PM International. They always have enough cash in the wallet or cash in the to take advantage of everything. Luxury account, sure. No, that's to spoil yourself. Very simple and easy. So think about all your wish list and then let's work on the wish list, because that's what your luxury account is doing for you. But it's not like I make more money tomorrow, I spend it all. Be disciplined on it. Don't get greedy. Give only money to people that really have an expertise. So if you really trust others, and by the way, giving money to the bank is not a guarantee. Sorry to say, it's not a guarantee. I mean, I have a lot of money that banks have to take care of, but these guys are working for whom? For the bank. How do they make money? Fees, mainly on fees. They charge, if it becomes more or less, their fees. So if you profit or not, they will get their cash. You need to be clear about that. That's the expertise there. So when you invest money, somebody think about the expertise first. And then think about what's their motivation, what's your motivation. And don't give money to people that have no expertise. Because the worst thing, that's a way to lose friends. Give people to friends that have no clue what they're doing. You're full of trust, and then it's burned, and then the discussion starts. So you don't want to get into that. Okay, we talked about the difference between revenue, invest, costs, and profits. You got that all swallowed. How to invest. You can invest into your business. You can invest in retirement, for example, safety later. So what I did at the beginning, I did put money aside for life insurance. So that was a way I wanted to get that retirement fund built up. And that worked very well for me because it's small amounts. I could start with the first life insurance just putting 50 euro away per month. And then when I could afford another 100, then I did another 100. And when I could afford another 150, I put another 150. And then they calculate to you how much you will receive. And I can tell you, I started with the age of 25 immediately. With my first 50 mark at that time, 25 euro. And then I did more and more and more because my father told me, if you want to have a life where you don't need to think about anything anymore and everything is fine for you, then it would be great if you have 2 million aside. And so I was always looking to build up towards this 2 million. So today I'm in the position that I'm getting paid out interestingly, because when you look at life with 25, I thought I'm retiring latest with 58. So I had my first payout with 58, another one with 60. In between, I'm still working and still making money, but I'm getting retirement funds. And yeah, it was true. I mean, this money gets paid out, and it has this kind of interest that was promised as a minimum. Not their fantasy they're putting always in, but the minimums they guarantee they typically hold on to. And the rest was really interest of interest, because if you have a long period of time, there's a lot of interest. So you see the money working for you. Yeah, so as more time you have, as better it is. And it's something you can do in small baby steps with low risk. At least if you take one of the insurance that are existing for a long time, then you should be on the safe side. Another one is living. I mean, living costs. So, you know, everybody has a dream of an apartment, a house, something like that. If you own it, yes. As long as you have a loan on it, it's like a rental. Reality is, I mean, you own it when you own it. If you have a loan on it that's as high as the value of that thing, then you don't own it. And it's just a different way of a rental, just with a bigger risk. Because if you rental, you can stop. If you own it, you're not getting out as easy of these costs that you have. So my driver was, when I took on a loan, I had to take loans, sure, that I tried to pay that off as fast as possible. So, and there was another thing I asked my father, and he gave me a good tip at that thing. He said a solid financiation starts with 30% own money. So that kept me conservative, that I didn't go crazy, because I was really saving money until I was ready for 30% pay down. And then I also followed the idea from him. He said, okay, don't take one loan only. Maybe you want to take 2 or 3. One to be paid back earlier, and the next one paid back, and the last one paid back. So that you see also you succeeding and not being stuck forever on that. And negotiate a deal with the bank, and that's super important. So if you take a loan, to negotiate with the bank, that you don't have to pay a fine when you want to pay back faster. It will be automatically in that fine if you don't negotiate that. So because that's what they do. But you have a space for negotiation yourself if you tackle it. It may change your conditions a little bit, but it's worth so much, because if you're successful starting building wealth more and more, then you want to get rid of these running costs. The worst thing you have in your life is running costs you can't get off. Yeah? The better sleep you can generate is with less trouble. And less trouble means high income, low running costs. High running costs, low income is the opposite of it. Yeah? So keep your income your costs under control, especially your running costs. The one-time costs you can always stop doing it. But the ones that are based on contracts that go for years and years and years and years, these are the binding ones that you're not getting rid of. So keep the running costs low and build your income. Don't listen to people that are not successful in what they're talking about. Next thing, don't give money to people with no experience, but also don't listen to people that don't have an expertise in what they're talking about. There's people telling you that are not in your position what you should spend your money for. Seriously? That's not important. You're not living for them, you're living for yourself. You need to think about what makes me happy, not what makes them happy. There's also, when your income gets bigger, there's people that know very well for what you spend the money for, because they earn money on that. So like the real estate agent, he's not working for you, he's working for his own pocket. He's serving you to a certain degree. Okay, so living, houses, etc., keep the costs low, take your time, not everything needs to happen tomorrow. And if you take a loan, look that you can pay it back probably as fast as possible, because then you own the place really. And then if whatever happens in your life, you're on the safe side. Because if you cannot afford anymore as a gardener, then you do it yourself. No? Just an example. Yeah. So some of you may not use a gardener, but whatever. It's a sprinkler. Yeah. If a sprinkler gets expensive, you can do it yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, you can keep costs low in a house as long as it's not getting too fancy. Yeah. And today you have even opportunities that your house can stay on its own. So there's environmental friendly energy and all kinds of things going on. That, yeah. So when you have assets, so now when you have additional income, if you create wealth, then there's a typical, and I wanted to give that to you too, split on how to do the asset management split. That's when it becomes more. And so the classic way of doing is 50% you. Okay, that's wrong written. That's not bonus, that's bonds. So that was wrong translation. So sorry, no 50% bonus. There's 50% into bonds. Anleihen in German, in English bonds. 20% goes into shares. And we are talking about a conservative behavior. We're not talking about getting funny. 50% in bonds, 20% in shares, 20% for real estate, 5% for venture capital. That can be all kinds of things. Investing into other businesses, people with an expertise who you give money. And then cash and cash equivalents, what means, for example, also gold, if you want to look a little bit on the safe side. Then today you have also cash equivalents, very famous right now is Bitcoin, you know. So all kinds, cash itself, so 5% should go in cash equivalents. If you look in cash equivalents and you look in the area of safeties, then gold is still the thing to go. There's discussions about silver because it's industrial used. Then you have also people talking about diamonds, rare earths. I mean, first rare earths you will not put somewhere under your cushion. Gold you can. You want to have for the worst, if you're a prepper. For the worst case scenario, you want to have something aside. You go for coins, gold coins, like Rügerrand or things like that, because they are small, but they're also tradable. Not instead of having gold in pieces like that, and then you go with a knife and cut off if it's needed. Coins is easier. So, yes. Massive action. So, when you're an entrepreneur, naming direct sales as an example, I mean, what was the reason that I was the fastest growing organization in PM International? Very simple. Because after I learned it for 10 months, I used it and understood increasing my value also means becoming more efficient in what I do. So I said, okay, more people in a room, bigger events in a room, but I was looking for the sales because I was in sales. So for me, it was not about the people in the room only, it was about how many of the people in the room are buying something. So for example, a Business Academy special. My goal was at least 50% in the room decide on a BA special. And the other 50% probably, because they're new, want to have a quick start. So at the end of the day, my goal was that everybody who's in that room is buying products to sell, because these are salespeople. And I didn't know if they buy the products and they are salespeople, they have the pressure to sell them. And this kind of urgency helps. So increasing your value, learning, and becoming more efficient in what you do. More efficient means to do it in a faster pace. And so in direct sales, for me, it was clear, massive action. So if I can sponsor 5 people in a month, then I look for 10 people. If I can sponsor 10 people, I look how I handle 15. And then I stay consistent. And that was a winner. At the end of the day, I had a lot of distributors starting super successful, sponsor people like hell in the beginning, but they were not consistent in what they were doing. So that took me on the fast lane. And the next thing was massive action. I looked what he's doing right, what he's doing right, what he's doing right. In an industry, it's the same. You can look a company is doing a little bit like this, a company is doing a little bit like that, and a company is doing a little bit like that. This is working, this is working, this is working too. Looking into the leadership, not what they say, but what they do, looking careful about the strongest strategy they have in place, at the end, putting it to me and saying, okay, I do it all together. At the same time, for example, advertising for new distributors. I was seeing some put ads in newspapers at that time. Today it would be social media, influencer. Yeah? Then they're talking to people on the street, then they're talking to people in their environment. Other ones were walking door to door. I was walking door to door, talking to people on the street, talking to people in the bars, talking to my bakery guy. I went to seminars in the evening just to get contacts to talk to people. So I was using it all. And so I got more people involved faster as anybody else. And then I worked on my presentation. How long does it take me to sell the business to a person? And I had a teacher and mentor at the time, Larry Thompson. He said, okay, 8 minutes. Okay, it took me 45 minutes when I learned about that. And I said, let's shoot for the 8 minutes. I never got to 8 minutes, but I got to 12 minutes. And I mean, 45 to 12 minutes, you know how many more people I could talk to and sign in at the same time when I just need 12 minutes instead of 45 minutes? Yeah. So how much more efficient I am if I have 500 people in the room than having only 20 people in the room? But it was step by step by step by step by step. Okay, so this is an example for me, and you can take it to all areas of life. Yeah? So increase your value, learn, new experience, more experience, yeah? Getting better on your job, and increasing the efficiency at the same time, yeah? Trying to do things faster as before. It's outside of the comfort zone until it becomes comfortable too. Yeah? See it like sports. Yeah? And again, pressure is great. Being outside of comfort zone is great. I mean, you may suffer a moment. In the beginning, it creates pain. At the end of the day, when you succeed, you feel better than ever. You know, when you win, how it feels. Be a winner in your life. So, take the pain to gain and to enjoy life even more than before. So that takes you to stages of financial freedom at the end of the day. So what stage are we looking at? Beginning now, 10% aside. Stage number 1. You make sure that your income covers your costs and that you put 10% away for building wealth. Stage number 2, additional income accelerates progress. Create additional income, increase your value. Yeah? If you're working corporate and you're not looking for an extra job, increase your value. Yeah? So that somebody has a reason to give you a promotion. That increases your income. Yeah? Or let's look on efficiency. Let's say, okay, there are certain things we're doing. Can we have a bonus, yeah, for being faster or getting more done or whatever? Be proactive. Financially free. For me, financially freedom starts when you can live your lifestyle that you always wished. So you have your list of things you note down that you say, that's the things I really want to have in my life happen for me. Yeah? So whatever it means, and there's a certain amount of money you need to make that, that's where financial freedom starts for you. It doesn't need that you need to have wealth like endless. It's about that you can live your life. When I looked at it, I said 8,500 to live my life. I think if I would lose everything today, just having 8,500 a month, I could be the happiest person on earth. No problem. I don't need the super yacht. I don't need these big houses. I want to have certain things that fit to my lifestyle. Traveling was always very important to me. But I don't care at the end of the day. Yes, I enjoy to be in a 5-star hotel, but when I go fishing, I'm in a room with 2 beds and its own bathroom, together with a buddy of choice, or with a friend that I like, no problem. Yeah? So it's not that makes me happier that yes, sure, it's nice to have a 5-star hotel, but it's not needed. For my personal life, I could live with less. So at the end of the day, define it for yourself. If you're overshooting it, fine. Good for wealth building. Good for better sleep at the end of the day. Okay, so next stage would be after that, being completely debt-free. I mean, everything's paid off. Low running costs, everything's paid off. You can do whatever you want. Your income is paying for everything. Next stage. So there's a stage that's on top of that. That is, if your wealth builds so much money that the interest, that the money you saved can pay for your life. So that you're getting to a point where you say, for example, when you want to retire, that you know I have put enough money aside that I'm not dependent on the government anymore or anybody else. I just could spend the rest of my life from the money that I put aside. And then the last stage would be that the interest is taken care of, that you don't even touch your wealth, that just the interest is an outcome of your wealth, can take care of it. But that's pretty high end, just to name it. Last important tip, don't get greedy. Yeah, so it's fast, takes long time to build it up. It can go fast to destroy it again. Always only give money to people with an expertise. Don't listen to funny interests. That's not happening. A lot of people are getting pulled over the table for that reason. Keep a conservative split. If you want to really risk something, then only a small percentage. I gave it to you before the split, where I say venture capital, that's the one where you can go full into the risk, but it's just 5% out of the total you have. On the wealth building side, not on what you make per month. Luck, we talked about that. Luck is about grabbing the chances along the way. Knowing is good, doing is what really makes it happen at the end of the day, so you cannot think yourself. There's books about motivation, where they say positive thinking makes you rich. No, it's not. So you need to take the action. It's good if you have a positive mindset and if you're solution-oriented and if you think about challenges, but at the end of the day, the action makes a difference, increase your value. Yep, and for last question to me would be to everybody, what you need to take action, what doesn't happen statistically in the next 72 hours will not happen. So make a note now for your first step. It doesn't matter if it's big, small, whatever. One thing, at least, you will start in the next 72 hours. So one thing you start in the next 72 hours. Just note that down. To get started on the journey. So, and that takes me to the stage to say thank you very much for taking the time. I will today, because we're not such a big group here in the room, we're a huge group outside, but not so many inside here, you have the luxury, you can ask questions. If there's anything along the way, you always wanted to ask in exactly that direction. Now is your opportunity to do it. Yep, Mr. Valerius?
You showed us the allocation of assets.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Sorg, you showed us the allocation of different assets split into bonds, shares, etc. Would you say that the individual age of a person can shift these percentages?
It's more risk profile.
Yeah.
It was a conservative way of doing it. Yeah? So as more risk you take, as more chances in it, but also as more risk you have in it. Mm-hmm. If you push it into the area of shares, for example, then you may have a bigger interest, but it also can go wrong. So talking about wealth building, I talked a little bit about myself and what worked for me. And I can tell you at the end of the day, I gave you a strategy of 37 years of consistent increasing wealth, because that's what happened to me. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Another question? Yep, there in the last row we have somebody.
Psychological work. When you were really down at the lowest point, or probably you had one or two in life. How did you get out? What did you do?
I'm the type of person who always takes the bull by the horns. So I think if you feel you're on the lowest point, for me it already kicks in positive, because the things can only get better now. Get it? So the lowest point is always a turning point for me, because the lowest point is already the lowest point. So any action I take from now on brings me up. And by the way, I had a lowest point in my life. It was during my studies, right at the beginning. It was the weeks before I found the job in direct sales. After being an apprentice and before I found that part-time job, I had a lowest point. I was speculating with money, by the way, also with the money of my mother. And I can share that today because I opened myself a couple of years ago to her, because my pride didn't allow that before. So I was starting to speculate with shares only. I had 3,000 mark on the side. I was speculating with shares, and I got excited about how good I am. And then some people gave me recognition because I got 50% increase in 1 year, having Spanish shares and bet on the right things. And then I went excited, and I bought calls. That's options, and they have only a certain amount of time, so it was 90 days, where you have to bet on the right thing. So I was right for 3 days, but I got excited. I thought, okay, I can come back and sell them when I'm back. I went windsurfing. That was one of my hobbies at that time. When I came back, it turned around. I could never sell them, so I lost the money. And since I put all the money on one thing, and even the money of my mother, that got so excited that she gave me, by trust, money too, I burned it all. So there was 3,000 mark from me gone and 3,000 of my mother. So that's, as things sometimes happen, I didn't have my income as car mechanic anymore, but I had still a sports car, a TR7, what is an English car, pretty cool car. And I somehow was not having some stress with my girlfriend. And so when I was driving back home from the village, with my aggression, I kicked the pedal to the metal. The car was cold, and these kind of cars don't handle that. So I saw fire coming out of the engine room, and then I could look how my car burned out. So that was the next thing. And then I had a girlfriend where I, in favor of her, did organize my actual girlfriend at the time. She was a trampoline jumper, third in Europe. And they wanted to create a carnival fest at the BASF. And her best girlfriend, she was organizing that. And they did know that in my family there's somebody, an uncle, who has a company with trucks. And so they were asking me if I could do the favor because they needed to get the trampoline from place A to place B. So I was asking him, and he said, yeah, you can have it. So, but I'm not used to drive trucks. So it was 7.5 tons where you have your cabin, and behind the cabin there is the other part that's a little higher. And so I'm driving from Ludwigshafen to Mannheim, where I have to cross a bridge over the River Rhine. And there was construction, and I'm driving there, and there's this heat thing with height thing with all the lamps on it. And I think that's pretty tight. That looked as it could work, but I was in the cabin, but not in the back. So I'm driving there, and then I hear horns behind me. 2 lanes completely blocked. That whole thing tear down. This truck destroyed. I'm sitting there. So, sports car gone, burned the money of my mother. No income more as a car mechanic, no direct sales business. So I was, and then I was at the university in Kaiserslautern. That was concrete, and only concrete. I have also went for a study as economic engineering and economic, where you don't find any woman. And that was at the age of 21. So 7 women with 350 students. That was pretty crazy. And so it's that total concrete thing, and then that gone, and that gone. It felt like the deepest point in my life. So, I thought, okay, I need to change something. And then I looked for every possible income source I could find. So I was looking on meters for the usage of water. Because I needed desperately money, I took normally a job for 2 people alone on Christmas time, not realizing that in Germany A lot of people are on vacation, but you had to read so many meters to get the money. So that at the end of the day, I was there half the night, people yelling at me because you need to do that in a period of time, and a whole mess. But again, it should be something you pull the energy from. The deepest point is where you can get the most energy. That's where the biggest, the most burning desire is created. That was maybe the main reason that I was willing even to talk with people about perfume and cosmetics with my background as a car mechanic. And that's it. The day changed my whole life. Okay. So I think with all of that said, I can only tell you, whatever situation you're in your life, there's always an opportunity to move forward. And now we have the strategy and the tactics, practical experience to wealth building. So use of it, make use of it. I wish you all the best success with it, and see you as a wealthier person next time. Thank you. Thank you.